December 10, 2022. Cristiano Ronaldo sat alone in his hotel room in Qatar. Portugal had just been eliminated from the World Cup. His last chance at the one trophy that had escaped him his entire career was gone. He was 37 years old. His phone was off. The world was celebrating without him. And then, a message arrived that he never expected. From the one person who understood his pain better than anyone. His greatest rival. Lionel Messi. What that message said, what it made Ronaldo realize. December 10, 2022. Portugal vs Morocco. World Cup quarterfinals. This was supposed to be Cristiano Ronaldo's redemption. His final World Cup. His last chance to win the one trophy that would complete his legacy. But it didn't go according to plan. Portugal lost 1-0. And Cristiano? He didn't even start the game. He came on as a substitute in the second half, desperate to save his team, desperate to save his legacy, but it wasn't enough. Nothing he did was enough. When the final whistle blew, Cristiano walked off the field in complete silence. The cameras followed him. The whole world watched as the greatest goal scorer in history, the man who had won everything else, walked down the tunnel knowing his World Cup dream was over. Forever. He didn't stop to talk to teammates. Didn't acknowledge the fans. Just walked. And when he finally reached the locker room, away from cameras, away from everyone, he broke down completely. His teammates found him sitting on the floor, head in his hands, sobbing. Not crying. Sobbing. The kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep, from a loss that's bigger than just a football match. Bruno Fernandes tried to comfort him. Cristiano, we fought hard. Sometimes it's just not meant to be. But Ronaldo shook his head. He couldn't speak. Couldn't form words. Because this wasn't just about the match. This was about everything. For 20 years, Cristiano Ronaldo had been compared to one man. Lionel Messi. Every goal Cristiano scored, people asked, but has he done what Messi did? Every trophy Cristiano won, people said yes, but Messi has more. Every record Cristiano broke, the conversation immediately turned to how Messi compared. And the one thing that Messi had that Cristiano didn't, was a World Cup. Messi had dragged Argentina to the final in 2014. And now, in 2022, Messi was doing it again. Argentina was still in the tournament. Still fighting. Still alive, and Cristiano? He was going home. Eliminated. Finished. His last World Cup ending not with glory, but with a substitution and a loss. The media would have a field day with this. Ronaldo's career incomplete. Messi the GOAT, Ronaldo the runner-up. He could already see the headlines. Already hear the debates. Already feel the judgment. And the worst part? Deep down, a part of him agreed with them. Cristiano left the locker room and went straight to his hotel. He told his team he wanted to be alone. Told his family not to come. Told everyone to leave him in peace. He locked himself in his room, turned off his phone, closed the curtains, and sat in darkness. 4 hours. Not thinking. Not planning. Just existing in the pain. This was supposed to be different. This was supposed to be his moment. His redemption. His proof that he was just as good, just as complete, just as legendary as Messi. But the football gods had other plans. And sitting there in that dark hotel room, Cristiano Ronaldo felt something he hadn't felt in years. He felt small. Inadequate. Not enough. All the trophies, all the goals, all the records, none of it mattered in that moment. Because he didn't have the one thing that would silence the critics forever. And he never would. At 37 years old, this was his last World Cup. His last chance. And it was gone. Around 2 a.m., Cristiano finally turned his phone back on. He wasn't planning to read messages. Wasn't planning to engage with the world. But he saw hundreds of notifications. Thousands. Messages from teammates, from friends, from family, from fans. Everyone saying the same things. You're still the greatest. This doesn't define you. One trophy doesn't erase everything you've achieved. But Cristiano didn't want comfort. He wanted to have one. He wanted to have that World Cup. He wanted to have that World Cup. He wanted to have proven, once and for all, that he was complete. Then he saw one message that made him stop scrolling. A message from a number he recognized but hadn't heard from in years. A message from someone who never reached out. A message from the one person in the world who understood exactly what Cristiano was feeling. The message was from Lionel Messi. And what it said. Cristiano read it 3 times before it fully registered. The message was in Spanish. Simple. Direct. Pure. Cristiano, I know what you're feeling right now. I know the pain of coming so close and falling short. I know what it's like to carry the weight of expectations that are impossible to meet. I know what it's like to be compared every single day of your life to someone else and feel like you're never enough. I lived that in 2014. And I'm living it now, knowing that even if Argentina wins, people will say I only became great because I won a world. We can't win, you and I. No matter what we do, it will never be enough for some people. But I want you to know something. You don't need a World Cup to be great. You already are. You've been great for 20 years. And the people who can't see that? They don't matter. History will remember us both. Not for what we didn't win, but for what we achieved despite impossible odds. Respect always, Leo. Cristiano read the message again. And again. His hands were shaking. Lionel Messi, the man he'd been compared to for 2 decades, the man he'd competed against in every possible way, the man who represented everything Cristiano was supposedly lacking, that man was reaching out. With empathy. With understanding. With respect. Cristiano didn't know how to process it. Because for 20 years, their relationship had been defined by competition. Rivalry. Distance. They weren't friends. They weren't enemies. They were just 2 planets orbiting the same sun, never quite touching, always being measured against each other. Cristiano remembered the first time he'd met Messi. 2007, Ronaldo was at Manchester United, Messi was at Barcelona. They played against each other in the Champions League. Cristiano was 22, Messi was 20. They shook hands before the match and Cristiano remembered thinking this kid is good. Really good. But he didn't think much beyond that. He was focused on his own career, his own goals. He didn't know that skinny Argentine kid would become the measuring stick for his entire life. Over the years, the rivalry grew. Not because they hated each other, but because the media, the fans, the entire football world turned them into symbols. Ronaldo was power, strength, athleticism, hard work. Messi was grace, talent, natural genius, effortless brilliance. Ronaldo was the self-made man who built himself into a god. Messi was the chosen one who was born a god. Every debate about who was better became a debate about which path to greatness was more valid. And Cristiano and Messi, whether they wanted to or not, became prisoners of that debate. They'd been in the same room countless times. Award ceremonies. FIFA events. Press conferences. But they never really talked. A polite handshake here. A brief nod there. Nothing substantial. Because what would they even say? They were competitors, not colleagues. Rivals, not friends. At least, that's what Cristiano had always believed. But reading this message, Cristiano realized something he'd never considered before. Maybe Messi had been suffering too. Maybe the comparison hurt him just as much. Maybe they'd both been trapped in a rivalry neither of them chose. Cristiano thought about responding. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. But what could he say? Thank you? That felt inadequate. I respect you too. That felt hollow. I've always felt the same way. That felt presumptuous. So he did something he'd never done before. He called. At 2:30 a.m. in Qatar, Cristiano Ronaldo called Lionel Messi. And Messi, despite the late hour, despite being in the middle of his own World Cup campaign, answered, "Cristiano?" Messi's voice was quiet, surprised. "I didn't think you'd call." Cristiano's voice cracked. "I didn't know what else to do. I read your message and I don't know. I needed to hear your voice. To know it was real. To know you actually meant it." There was a pause. Then Messi said something that broke Cristiano. "Of course I meant it. Cristiano, do you know how exhausting it is? Being compared to you every single day? Having every goal I score measured against yours? Having every trophy celebrated only if it's more than what you've won? I'm tired of it. And I know you are too." Cristiano sat down on the bed, phone pressed to his ear, tears streaming down his face. "I thought you liked it. The comparisons. I thought you enjoyed being called the best." Messi laughed, but it was sad. Nobody enjoys that. Because being called the best means someone else has to be called second best. And I never wanted to diminish what you've done. I never wanted our careers to be a competition. I wanted them to be a celebration. Two guys who loved football and played it at the highest level. But the world wouldn't let us just be that. They made us enemies. "We're not enemies," Cristiano whispered. "No," Messi agreed. "We're not. We never were. We're just two people who were born in the same era and cursed to be compared forever." "But Cristiano, listen to me. You don't need a World Cup. I'm serious. Your career is complete. 5 Ballon d'Ors. 5 Champions Leagues. Championships in England, Spain, and Italy. 800 goals. You've done everything. And if you never kick a ball again, you're already a legend." Cristiano wiped his eyes. "But you're about to win the World Cup. And then everyone will say you're better. That you're complete and I'm not." Messi was quiet for a moment. "Maybe. But Cristiano, I need to tell you something. Something I've never told anyone. Even if Argentina wins this World Cup, I'll still feel incomplete. Because I'll know I didn't do it alone. I'll know I had help. I'll know that luck played a part. And I'll know that people will always say yes, but you only won one. Ronaldo won 5 Champions Leagues," he continued. "Don't you see? We can't win. You think winning a World Cup will make you feel complete? It won't. There will always be something else. Some other metric. Some other comparison. Some other way to diminish what we've achieved. The only way to win is to stop playing their game. To stop letting other people define our worth. To decide for ourselves what success means." What Messi said next changed Cristiano Ronaldo's entire perspective on his career, his life, and his legacy. Messi took a deep breath over the phone. "Cristiano, can I tell you something? Something I've never admitted to anyone?" Cristiano nodded, then realized Messi couldn't see him. "Yes. Tell me." Messi's voice became vulnerable in a way Cristiano had never heard. "I've been jealous of you. For years. Not of your trophies or your goals. But of your strength. Your confidence. The way you walk into a room and own it. The way you believe in yourself even when everyone doubts you. The way you built yourself from nothing." Cristiano was shocked. "You've been jealous of me? Leo, you're the most naturally talented player I've ever seen. You make it look easy. I've had to work for everything." Messi laughed softly. "That's exactly why I'm jealous. Because you worked for it. Because you earned it. People look at me and say, 'Oh, he's just talented. He was born that way.' They look at you and say, 'He made himself great.' Do you know how much more respect that carries? Do you know how many times I've wished I had your story? Poor kid from Portugal who became king of the world through pure will. That's a movie. That's inspiration. Cristiano couldn't believe what he was hearing. But Leo, you're Messi. You're the player everyone wants to be. Messi's voice became firmer. No. I'm the player everyone wants to have been born as. But you? You're the player everyone wants to become. There's a difference. Kids can't be born with my talent. But they can work like you. They can dedicate like you. They can believe like you. You're replicable. I'm not. And that makes your legacy more powerful than mine. They talked for almost 2 hours. Not about football. Not about trophies. About life. About pressure. About what it's like to be public property. About having every decision scrutinized. About missing their kids' childhoods because of training. About lying awake at night wondering if they'd done enough. About the impossible weight of carrying national pride on their shoulders. About being human beings treated like gods and simultaneously never being allowed to be human. Messi told Cristiano about 2014. About how losing that World Cup final to Germany had broken him. About how he'd considered retiring from international football. About how the depression lasted months. About how even winning Copa America in 2021 didn't fully heal that wound. People think winning fixes everything, Messi said. But it doesn't. It just gives you a new set of problems. New expectations. New pressure. The goalposts keep moving. Cristiano opened up about things he'd never told anyone. About how he sometimes hated football. How it had given him everything but also taken everything. How he couldn't remember the last time he'd played just for fun, without thinking about legacy or records or comparisons. How he'd sacrificed relationships, health, peace of mind, all for a sport that would forget him the moment he retired. I'm 37 years old, Cristiano said. And I don't know who I am without football. That's terrifying. I know exactly what you mean, Messi replied. I'm 35. And I'm terrified of retirement too. Because when I stop playing, who am I? I'm not Lionel Messi the person. I'm Lionel Messi the footballer. When that's gone, what's left? They sat in shared silence for a moment, two men at the peak of their professions, admitting to each other what they couldn't admit to anyone else. They were terrified. Lost. Unsure. Human. Then Cristiano asked the question that had been haunting him for years. Leo, be honest with me. Do you think you're better than me? Messi was quiet for so long Cristiano thought the connection had dropped. Then finally, no. I think we're different. You're the best Cristiano Ronaldo that ever existed. I'm the best Lionel Messi that ever existed. Comparing us is like comparing Picasso and Van Gogh. They're both masters. Just different styles. But everyone wants a definitive answer, Cristiano pushed. Who's the GOAT? You or me? Messi laughed, and this time it was genuine. Cristiano, I don't care. I really don't. I used to. When I was younger, I wanted to be considered the best. But now? I just want to be remembered as someone who loved the game. Someone who inspired kids. Someone who gave people joy. If they remember me as second best to you, I'm okay with that. If they remember you as second best to me, you should be okay with that too. Because we're both in the conversation. We're both legends. That's enough. Those words hit Cristiano like a revelation. You really don't care? Messi's voice was peaceful. I really don't. And you know what freed me? Realizing that it's not my job to convince people I'm the best. It's my job to be the best version of myself. The rest is just noise. Let them debate. Let them argue. Let them pick sides. We don't have to participate in that circus anymore. Cristiano felt something shift inside him. Something heavy lifting. Something he'd been carrying for 20 years suddenly feeling lighter. "When did you figure this out?" he asked. Messi thought for a moment. "Honestly? About 5 minutes before I sent you that message. I was sitting in my hotel room, watching the highlights of your match, and I saw your face when you walked off the field. And I thought, that's how I looked in 2014. And I realized we'd been living parallel lives. Same pain. Different jerseys. And I thought, maybe it's time we acknowledged that. What Cristiano did next surprised even himself." Cristiano took a deep breath. "Leo, I'm still in Qatar. You're still here. Before you play your semi-final, before this tournament ends and we go back to our separate lives, can we meet? In person? Not for cameras. Not for publicity. Just two guys who've been through the same war, talking." There was a pause. Then Messi said yes. "I'd like that. Tomorrow night? After training, December 11th, 2022. 9 p.m. A private room in a hotel in Doha. No cameras. No media. No agents or managers. Just Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, sitting across from each other in comfortable chairs, sharing a bottle of water because neither of them drank alcohol. It was surreal. Two men who had defined an era of football, who had been compared millions of times, who had orbited each other for 2 decades, finally having a real conversation. They started awkwardly, making small talk about the tournament, the weather, their families. But gradually, as the minutes passed, the walls came down. Messi asked about Cristiano's knee, the one that had been bothering him for years. Cristiano asked about Messi's hamstring issues. They talked about aging bodies. About how recovery took longer now. About how they couldn't do things at 35 and 37 that they could do at 25 and 27. About the fear of their bodies betraying them. Then Cristiano said something he'd been wanting to say for years. "Leo, I need to apologize to you." Messi looked confused. "For what?" Cristiano shifted in his seat. "For feeding into the rivalry. For the times I was arrogant or dismissive. For the times I let my ego make it seem like I didn't respect you. Because I do. I always have. But I was so caught up in trying to prove I was as good as you that I forgot to just appreciate that we got to exist at the same time." Messi smiled. "Cristiano, I did the same thing. Every time you won something, I felt like I was losing. Every time you broke a record, I felt pressure to break it back. I let the comparison control me. And I'm sorry for that too. Because the truth is, watching you play has made me better. Knowing you were out there working harder than anyone forced me to elevate my game. You didn't just make football better. You made me better." They talked about specific moments. The 2008 Champions League final when Cristiano's Manchester United beat Messi's Barcelona. The countless Clásicos when Ronaldo's Real Madrid battled Messi's Barcelona. The Ballon d'Or ceremonies where they sat next to each other, smiling for cameras while dying inside wondering who would win. The individual moments of brilliance that got immediately compared. "When you scored that bicycle kick against Juventus," Messi said, "I watched it 50 times. Not to find flaws. Just to appreciate it. It was perfect." And when you dribbled past an entire team against Athletic Bilbao, Cristiano countered, "I called it the greatest goal I'd ever seen. Not to the media. But to my friends. Because it was. You made it look like magic." They laughed. Real, genuine laughter. The kind that comes from letting go of pretense. From being honest. From being human with someone who actually understands. Messi leaned forward. "Can I ask you something personal?" Cristiano nodded. "Do you ever wish you'd played in a different era? So you didn't have to be compared to me?" Cristiano thought carefully. Yes. And no. Yes, because the comparison has been exhausting. But no, because competing against you made me better than I ever would have been alone. You set a standard I had to match. And that forced me to become more than I thought possible. Messi smiled. I feel the same way. I used to wish I was the only great player of this generation, so I could be undisputed. But now I realize how boring that would have been. Having you there, pushing me, challenging me, forcing me to improve, that made my career meaningful. We didn't just compete against each other, Cristiano. We built each other. They talked for 3 hours. About their kids. About retirement plans. About what they wanted to do after football. Messi admitted he had no idea. Football is all I know. I dropped out of school at 13. I can't do anything else. Cristiano laughed. Leo, you're worth $600 million. You don't need to do anything else. Messi shook his head. It's not about money. It's about purpose. What's my purpose when I can't play anymore? Cristiano understood that fear deeply. I've been thinking about that too. And I think, maybe our purpose is to help the next generation. To be mentors. To show young players that you can be great without sacrificing your humanity. That you can compete without being cruel. That you can want to win without needing others to lose. Messi nodded thoughtfully. I'd like that. Passing on what we've learned. Not just the technical skills, but the mental stuff. The things nobody teaches you. As the night wore on, they made a pact. A private agreement between two legends. They promised to support each other publicly from now on. To stop feeding the rivalry narrative. To praise each other's achievements genuinely. To show the world that you can be competitors and still have mutual respect. The media will hate it, Messi laughed. Their entire business model is built on us being enemies. Cristiano grinned. Good. Let them find something else to write about, but what they decided. Cristiano leaned back in his chair, thinking. Leo, what if we did something together? Something that showed we're not enemies. Something that proved the rivalry was never personal. Messi raised an eyebrow. Like what? Cristiano hesitated, then said, what if we trained together? One session. Just us. No cameras initially, but then we release footage afterward. Show the world that we can exist in the same space without it being a competition. Messi's eyes widened. That would break the internet. Cristiano nodded. Exactly. And it would send a message. To young players. To fans. To everyone who's wasted energy debating who's better. The message would be, we're both great, and that's okay. There doesn't have to be a loser. Messi thought about it. The media would go insane. Our teams would probably hate it. But. He smiled, I kind of love it. When? They decided on December 13th. 2 days before Argentina's semifinal against Croatia. Early morning. A private training facility. Just the two of them. No coaches. No teammates. No press. They'd train together for 2 hours. Work on shooting. Passing. Skills. Just two footballers who loved the game, playing it together for the first time in their careers. And afterward, they'd release a joint statement and some footage. The logistics were complicated. Security. Confidentiality. Making sure nobody found out beforehand. They brought in only 2 people, one videographer they both trusted, and one security guard. That was it. The training session was scheduled for 6 a.m. Before the world woke up. Before anyone could interfere. December 13, 2022. 5:45 a.m. Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at the private facility. He was nervous. Not about playing football. But about what this meant. This was the end of an era. The end of the rivalry as the world knew it. The beginning of something new. Something nobody had seen coming. He set up his boots, stretched, tried to calm his mind. 5:50 a.m. Lionel Messi arrived. They looked at each other across the training pitch, both in simple training gear, both without logos or branding, just two men about to kick a ball. Messi walked over. Extended his hand. Cristiano took it. They shook. Not for cameras. Not for show. Just a genuine handshake between equals. Ready? Messi asked. Let's do this, Cristiano replied. They started with simple passing. Back and forth. Nothing fancy. Just feeling the ball. Feeling each other's rhythm. And it was strange. After 20 years of being opponents, being on the same wavelength felt foreign. But gradually, it started to click. Cristiano would make a run and Messi would thread a perfect pass. Messi would call for the ball and Cristiano would deliver it exactly where he wanted it. They were speaking the same language. Finally, they moved to shooting drills. Taking turns. Critiquing each other's technique. Your left foot is still weak, Messi teased. Cristiano laughed. Your right foot is basically decorative. They were joking. Playing. Having fun. Something neither of them had done in years. Football had become so serious. So heavy. But here, now, it was just a game again. At one point, Messi dribbled past Cristiano and scored. Cristiano stood there, hands on his hips, shaking his head with a smile. Still got it, old man. Messi grinned. You're older than me. They both laughed. Real, genuine laughter. The videographer captured it all. Two legends being human. Being playful. Being friends. An hour into the session, they sat down for a water break. Cristiano looked at Messi. This feels right. Why didn't we do this years ago? Messi shrugged. Pride. Fear. The weight of expectations. We were trapped in roles we didn't choose. But we're choosing this now. And that matters. They talked about the statement they'd release. What it should say. How to frame it. They decided to keep it simple. Honest. Direct. Something like, for 20 years, the world has compared us. Debated us. Tried to make us enemies. But the truth is, we've always had respect for each other. We've pushed each other to be better. Made each other greater. Today, we train together for the first time. Not as rivals. As colleagues who love the same game. This is for everyone who thinks you have to tear others down to build yourself up. You don't. There's room at the top for more than one person. Respect, Cristiano and Leo. The second hour of training was pure joy. They played small-sided games. One-on-one. Skills challenges. Free kicks. Everything. And the competitive spirit was still there. They wanted to beat each other. But it was playful competition now. Not bitter. Not desperate. Just two greats testing each other. Pushing each other. Enjoying each other's company. At 8 a.m., they finished. Sweaty. Tired. Happy. They sat on the grass together, looking at the sunrise. I'm glad we did this, Cristiano said. Messi nodded. Me too. I feel lighter. Like I've been carrying something heavy and finally put it down. Cristiano understood exactly what he meant. That weight was the rivalry. The comparison. The need to be better. But we can put it down now. We've earned that. They agreed to release the video and statement on December 15th. Right before Argentina's semi-final. Timing it so it would make maximum impact. Show the world that even in the middle of a World Cup, even with everything on the line, they could come together. They could show respect. They could be bigger than the game. But what happened when they released it, neither of them was prepared for. December 15th, 2022. 10 a.m. Qatar time. Simultaneously, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi posted the same video on their Instagram accounts. 2 minutes of footage from their training session. Simple editing. Just them passing, shooting, laughing. And the joint statement as the caption. Within 5 minutes, the internet exploded. The video got 10 million views in the first hour. News outlets around the world interrupted regular programming to show it. Breaking news: Ronaldo and Messi trained together. Hashtag started trending immediately. Hashtag Ronaldo Messi. Hashtag respect the greats. Hashtag end of rivalry. Sports analysts were brought onto TV shows to discuss what this meant. Former players were asked for their takes. The entire football world stopped to process what they were seeing. The reactions were mixed. Die-hard Ronaldo fans felt betrayed. How could he train with Messi? He's supposed to hate him. Die-hard Messi fans felt the same. Messi is better, why is he giving Ronaldo credibility? But the majority of people? They loved it. They were moved by it. They saw two legends showing that respect and competition can coexist. That you don't have to hate your rival to be great. Other athletes started posting about it. LeBron James tweeted, "This is what greatness looks like. Two kings recognizing each other. Much respect to both." Tom Brady posted, "Competition makes us better. But respect makes us legends. Well done Cristiano and Leo." Serena Williams shared it with the caption, "Showing my daughters that you can compete fiercely and still lift each other up." But the most emotional reactions came from regular people. Parents posted videos of themselves crying while watching it, explaining how they'd spent years arguing with friends about who was better, and realizing how pointless it was. Young players posted about how it changed their perspective on competition. Teachers used it in classrooms to teach about sportsmanship. It became bigger than football. It became a cultural moment. However, not everyone was happy. The media that had built their brands on the Messi versus Ronaldo debate were furious. Entire shows dedicated to the debate suddenly had no content. Sports pundits who had made careers out of picking sides felt undermined. This is a publicity stunt, some claimed. They're just doing this for attention. But the authenticity of the video was undeniable. You couldn't fake the joy on their faces. The genuine respect. The playfulness. The video also created an unexpected movement. Young players started posting videos of themselves training with their rivals. High school teammates who competed for the same position training together. College athletes from rival schools meeting up to practice. The hashtag train like legends respect like Messi started trending. The idea that competition and collaboration weren't mutually exclusive spread beyond football into other sports, other fields, other areas of life. 3 days later, Argentina played their semi-final against Croatia. Messi was electric. He scored a goal. Created another. Argentina won 3-0. And when Messi celebrated, the camera caught him pointing to the sky. Then he pointed to his heart. Then he made a CR7 gesture with his hands. Subtle. Quick. But people saw it. Cristiano saw it. And he understood. Messi was dedicating part of that performance to their newfound friendship.